The intersection of video games and literature is a fascinating realm where two seemingly distinct forms of entertainment converge to create a unique and dynamic experience. To appreciate the current intersection of video games and literature, we should begin by tracing the evolution of narrative in video games. In the early days of gaming, narratives were often rudimentary, serving as a mere backdrop to gameplay mechanics. Games like Pong and Space Invaders were devoid of any storytelling, focusing primarily on score-based objectives. This was mostly due to the severe limitations of their platforms, which relegated a lot of world building to the box art and instruction manuals. Researching for this video, I came across many conflicting reports of what the earliest example of storytelling in video games was. I suppose it's up for debate what you might consider to be storytelling, with some early titles leaving their story up to the interpretation of the player more so than explaining it outright in the form of cutscenes or dialogue boxes like we're so used to today. One notable example is Adventure for the Atari 2600, released in 1980. Designed by Warren Robinett, this game is considered one of the first to feature a graphical representation of a player-controlled character, in this case a square representing a player's avatar, and a simple narrative. Players explored a maze-like world, solved puzzles, and retrieved the Holy Grail while encountering various obstacles. While the story was basic, the inclusion of a quest and objectives marked a departure from earlier arcade-style games that lacked such narrative elements. Another early example is Zorc, a text-based adventure game developed by Infocom and released in 1980. Although entirely devoid of graphics, Zorc presented players with a rich textual description of their surroundings and a narrative-driven experience. Players would interact with the game world by typing commands, and the story unfolded through these interactions. While these early examples may seem rudimentary by today's standards, they laid the groundwork for the evolution of storytelling in video games, which has since become a fundamental aspect of the medium. Over the years, advancements in technology have allowed for more sophisticated narratives, character development, and cinematic presentation in video games. The progression of computer hardware and, equally important, the increased storage density afforded by new mediums like the CD-ROM allowed for the inclusion of full-motion video to be incorporated in video games. In the early 90s, this felt like a quantum leap forward, allowing for games with lengthy cutscenes, even at times featuring live-action scenes acted out before your very eyes. This no doubt shifted gamers' perceptions of what a video game could be, and opened the doors to a world in which games could become a novel vehicle for intricate storytelling. Personally, I believe when done right, a video game can be the ultimate form of storytelling, because it allows you to feel like you are not just a bystander witnessing a series of events, but a participant fully immersed in what's happening. Many narrative-driven titles have drawn inspiration from the realm of film to present themselves in a cinematic fashion. Often referred to as movie games, titles like The Last of Us, God of War, or Spider-Man, just to name a few modern examples, go all in on the cinematic angle and really make you feel like you're participating in a blockbuster film. Certain games can even straight up treat cutscenes like feature films too. Metal Gear Solid 4 currently holds the record for longest cutscene at an astonishing 71 minutes, and having over 8 hours of cutscenes throughout the game. I would be remiss if I failed to mention the genre of game that exists closest to literature, the visual novel. Sometimes a topic of debate as to whether they really count as a game per se, visual novels exist as the most obvious intersection of books and interactive entertainment. This genre is a total rabbit hole to fall into, with a seemingly endless supply of titles to choose from, mostly thanks to their relatively simple and inexpensive development process. Of course, this results in a ton of visual novels with woefully amateurish writing, but there are certainly some diamonds in the rough if you look for them. Some famous examples that are highly regarded include Doki Doki Literature Club, The House in Fata Morgana, and Steins Gate. Overall, I'm a huge fan of the use of games as a vehicle for storytelling. When done correctly, it can have a lasting effect on the player, leaving them feeling as though they experienced the story firsthand. As technologies like virtual reality continue to evolve, I foresee this immersive narrative delivery as only becoming more widely seen as on par with, or even superior to film or written literature. As always, I'd love to hear what you think. Do you enjoy being immersed in a good gaming story, or do you prefer to focus on gameplay? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers. We are almost there, guys. And when I do, I'm going to do a full game room tour you won't want to miss. Until next time, thanks for watching.